Alright, so we're back on the back aerial, as it turns out. Which, I just want to finish the aerials now, and then I'm going to move on to the smashes. Ran out of time on the other one. Cackling again, Death pulls one of his hands in an arc over his head, creating a pale blue wave of energy above him, and slightly behind him is a wall. From here, 6 sparks of flame jump from this arc, being very small hitboxes, about as big as a Pokeball, and traveling a platform in distance before disappearing. If they hit an opponent, they will set them alight for 1% a second, and flinching knockback for 3 seconds. If they hit the solid ground, like a platform, they set it alight. This amounts to the part of the stage shooting actual fire around it, creating blue flames the size of Bowser where the sparks hit. So this is how you make your cage really scary, because the forward smash... special, whatever special that was, I don't remember. Bouncing off the inside of that was not enough, and Death being able to attack them in there is not enough, and Death being able to go in there and to attack them is not enough. No, now we have to set the whole thing on fire. Fire deals 6% damage to foes in low knock, but that's all you really need. Well, yeah, because you can drag them through, and you can turn the inside of the cage to hell. The uses of this should be fairly obvious, as you can cover the inside of your chained area in fire, making it truly hellish for your opponent. Hellish indeed. I mean, dude. I don't even know how you, once that happens, I don't even know how you win anymore. It's just like, set up a cage, get the foe inside, set the inside on fire. What else do they do, especially with the scythe bouncing around? It's really cool, but, you know, it's... balance problems, balance problems, balance problems. That's what everyone notices when they're doing an audio comment. Death holds out on hand in front of him, it amassing a pale blue aura. Any sickles from your neutral special will be sucked in if they're within 3 Ganondorfs of Death, gathering around in a big ball at the center of the mass, with Death doing this for 1.2 to 2.0 seconds. You realize a Warlock punch is a second? This is kind of going to take a little while to pull off, so yeah, don't be surprised if you just get Warlock punched when you do this move. I shouldn't be complaining about this, because the set's overpowered and it'd be just fine without ever having to use this move ever. And if you have a bunch of space, you're probably just fine, or if the opponent's just, like, busy bouncing around the inside of there with a scythe, you probably can use this just fine. As they're being pulled in like this, they're still capable of hurting the opponent. Depending on charge time, Death can collect more sickles and also better magnetize them into place, creating a neater clump of sickles rather than a big mess. At the end of the charge time, Death shoots the sickles out, either straightforward or angled by the player at the end of the input. Sickles will travel at Mario's to Sonic's dash speed in that direction, assumingly depending on charge, having their usual effect on opponents, but being somewhat to very well lined up as they buffet the foe back and forth. Hey, Mom. This is very effective, especially when you're shooting an opponent into a portal, or shooting the line of sickles into a portal themselves, creating a stream of sickles that can potentially stretch all the way across the screen. They won't continue like this forever, but the sickles slowly start to separate, most of them regaining their normal projectile path after traveling 3 platforms, or up to the length of Final Destination at full charge. This is extremely effective when you're shooting an opponent into a portal, or shooting the line of sickles into a portal themselves, creating a stream of sickles that can potentially stretch all the way across the screen. They won't continue like this forever. The sickles slowly start to... Alright, I already read this. My bad. So he can create like a big ol' stream of sickles between portals, and just basically create them into giant, wall-off giant sections of the stage with them, which is... Again, it's pretty valid, useful little move there. A bit laggy, but, you know, it's got a powerful effect to it. Death holds his hands together, tightening the grip on his scythe if he has one. The ritual summoning 3 ominous red spheres that hover in a triangular pattern above him and below him. The orbs are the size of a Kirby and cause constant flinching, knockback, and damage of 3% as long as the opponent is touching them. Death can hold this pose for 1 to 2 seconds, and with no further input from the player, the move proceeds with its first form. The spheres dissipate as Death launches 3 scythe-shaped and ghoulish projectiles the size of Ganondorf, these circling around him and expanding their scope once they go around a full circle, making a full circle around Death 3 to 5 times, depending on charge time, potentially making a circle as big as a doubly huge exploded smart bomb. That's pretty big range. Their speed also depends on charge time, ranging from Luigi's dash speed to twice of Sonic's with full charge. That's also pretty fast. These projectiles deal high knockback that keeps off the top blast zone at 130%, but this is far lower if hit higher up on the screen, which this very much has potential of doing. This also ignores any solid ground like a lot of Death's projectiles. These projectiles are highly telegraphed, but backed up by there are multiple of them all circling at once, meaning the opponent cannot simply spot dodge them or camp in the air. The second form of the move comes with the Death player inputs directions on the control stick during the charge time of the move, causing Death to move around with the orbs still orbiting him. Orbs, orbiting, whatever. That's not even a pun. What am I even saying? As a makeshift shield and linger for 4 to 6 seconds before dissipating. But wait, there's more. As forcing the orbs through a portal can cause their original attack to appear out the other side of a portal, while its strength still depends on your charge time. Considering their lofty size, this may be the only way to set them up with portals and can potentially be devastating. So yeah, just another projectile he can manipulate through portals, which is all fine and dandy. Glad we have more of those than just the sickles, really. No, actually, he has a few of them on the aerials, too. He's got a lot of projectiles he can use. He can really create, like, pretty dangerous field. Death is very versatile, which is kind of scary when he's already, like, each individual style seems really good, so... Again, we've seen worse. It's fine. Far more broken characters existing to make your move. Turning to face the screen, Death holds one hand up above him, pointing up a finger in a uniquely expressive animation. I'll see how that's expressive, but okay. After 0.2 seconds, the two crescent-shaped blades almost as big as Bowser appear on either side of Death, pointing below him. Every 0.2 seconds, another pair of identical blades will spawn at Bowser down and away from the previous, all facing in a direction below Death, but progressively pointing more or upward with each spawn. Once the input is pressed, whether blades are on screen and sweep in a downward trajectory before turning and swooping up into the air with increased speed as it ascends. Eventually, he passes the top blast zone, predictably bypassing solid ground if it needs be. Any opponent hit by the projectiles takes 7% damage, with knockback depending on the speed of the blade, killing as high as 60% or as low as 100% with a high ceiling. The blades will always be facing the direction they're going, turning up almost completely at the end of their cycle. Facing straight on like this, they can easily fit through your portals, but this requires setup and placing portals carefully at the top of the stage. Of course, this means that the blade will be going down rather than up, but you could always place another portal at the bottom blast zone. This makes it far easier to KO them, though at the cost of setting up it may be too dangerous. So again, another projectile. I guess it's cool. I mean, blades that swoop around the screen. It's kind of neat. It does its job as another projectile. Anyway, I'm not even going to bother reading the final smash. I just don't care. Playstyle. Death has a contempt for the living. Here are carried off by a hatred of the physical world, the stage. If Death had his way, the stage would be erased, and his portals would replace it as a way to predict, enforce, and control the opponent's movement. Boy, is he good at that. First, Death seems like a very typical opponent with his mighty scythe, merely pulling around the opponent and if he has the inclination to, and making the odd portal here and there as a means of travel. This initial phase, where you're establishing your presence in the match, is infinitely important. The option of erasing it all with your grab is really a finite option, and one that should be well considered. The scythe is somewhat of a burden on you, and you should get rid of it for the temporary. It is generally the intelligent thing to do, but only when you're in a position to retrieve it later on. I don't know. I sort of think that Death would want to keep a grip on his scythe, character-wise. I mean, like in the set, yeah, I see why he'd want to get rid of it, but I just think that's kind of weird. Thus, you have even more reason to create a cramped from your chains. These spaces are open-ended for the player, but the easiest one is a complete square with your grab game. This will give the opponent license to rip off whatever chains you want, giving them control over your portals, which is anything but what Death wants. Simply setting up chains that will keep rebounding your scythe is far better for Death, especially earlier in this game, and this doubly helps you build up to a KO with your aerials, making the cramped space a horrible place for the opponent to exist in. Whether you've retrieved your scythe or not, which is fairly unimportant, can be decided by the player judging what's best for the situation, Death can start actually playing around with his portals and chains to some degree of success. Portals earlier merely act as openings Seg used into approaching the opponent from as a form of pressure, now serve as a way to send opponents flying off stage with some deception on Death's part. Portals, originally designed to merely keep your opponents pressured away, now can be used to hit them from all the way across the stage. The more insanely you can combine your undead power, the easier it is to completely dominate the stage control. What Death hates is an opponent who fights back. Don't they all, you say? Well, Death doesn't like an opponent who is cautious and has a good memory, as he has amazing potential for not just mind games, but straight up deviousness when he just goes for a lot of moves with multiple completely different options available to him. These come passively. Your down smashes orbs act as a shield while he uses the forward smash, and they come actively, throwing out an up special specifically to create a ceiling to gimp the opponent. Death is expectedly not tricking the opponent into death, above tricking the opponent into death. And if you're gullible enough to fall for Death's gambit, you deserve it. Okay, so yeah, finishing up. I really do like this set. It's very clever, probably my favorite so far, honestly. One complaint is that it's kind of too good. Like, power-wise, he seems like he'd be... I mean, yeah, you do have to set up, but it's not like it's that hard, and once you do, it's pretty much game over for the foe. And, I mean, I guess it's fine. It's not really a big deal. There's worse examples of being overpowered all over the contest, but I like some of those. But anyway, really good work here. I don't think it's quite on Entropy or Banbolo's level, but it's better than anything else of yours I read, including Chase. I still don't understand why everyone loves that set, but okay. And yeah, good work here. Hope to see more from you later in the contest, and I think this is definitely the best thing posted on Halloween, that's for sure.